Hey guys, welcome back to our
Real Love Scenario.
Real Love Scenario. Shout out to all our real lovers out there.
It was my turn to bust it down.
Nationwide. Oh, I heard you.
You said, ooh. Gotta use your finger to really make them believe. Yes.
My voice a little gone because I was in Mexico.
Oh, having a good time.
Having a great time.
It looked like a great time.
It was a lot of, anytime you have a all-inclusive to where you can just go up, get any drink anytime you want, at any point you want.
Must have been a nice one.
Oh, yeah.
It must have been a really nice one because I've done that before and I did not have a good experience. We wound up upgrading to what they considered the premium all-inclusive like meal and drink plan because the basic one
was not hitting.
We should have been in the hospital. Put it that way, for how much we were drinking. And it was like, why don't we
feel nothing?
Nothing's happening. So, but that's great.
It was cool. It was called Garza Blanca in Cancun, and it was like kind of brand new. So it was like really, really, really nice.
It looked very nice.
Had a good time. And I like going to weddings where it's people your age, because then it's like all their friends are your age. So then it's just like a fun turn up. And it's a good time. Yeah.
Yes. That's so good.
Voice a little gone.
Very nice. For good reasons.
For good reasons, yes. For sure. How was your weekend? Oh, yeah, you went to art.
I went to Art Basel. It was good. We had a good time. It was like we killed like 3 birds with one stone.
Did you watch the last Don't Call Me White Girl episode?
Yes, I did.
And Mona talking about how booked you are.
That is
how
correct.
You always.
I texted her and I said, yo, your ability to storytell and the way that you do is extremely funny and truly a talent, because we know what the real story is. And I love it because Phelps will just very lightly, slightly be like, that's not what happened. Rhonda not that thirsty. Thank you, Phelps. Appreciate it. But yes, I did. It was funny. But yes, it was great. Love Art Basel. I've been several times. Hadn't seen my friend Sade, who used to live in Miami, moved to Tucson.
Yeah.
And she was missing Miami. She calls it home. It's not home. But she calls it home. So it was a good just opportunity to see friends, get some sunshine, and take in some art, which I do actually love, but just not as much as Mona said that I do.
Yeah.
Yes. And I got to talk to Joe Button for a few minutes.
What'd you say? I told her to come to Joe Button, but she like art.
It's nothing there. The only thing she loved more than Joe is art. And I'm like, no shade. I do really like Joe Button as a podcaster, but neither of those two things are like that high on the list. They on the list, but
exactly
not the top 2. But yes, it was great. It was a good time. Great time.
That's good.
Yeah, Miami's always good.
That's good. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. I know a lot of people that went down there and they said it was a great time too.
Yes,
so
for sure.
Always a good time. So you ready to hop into our real life love scenario for today?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. What you got for us?
So it's making its rounds online. I've seen it on a few blogs, but most recently I saw it on the Shade Room. It's a clip from the podcast Friends or Benefits.
Yes.
And they had someone write in asking for advice. And this guy basically was cheating on his wife. And
his wife.
He was cheating on his wife. Okay. Yes. With somebody that he met online for like months. And his wife, I guess, wound up figuring out where they would go to meet up.
Yeah.
And waited for them in the hotel lobby. And as they were coming down, boom, his wife was there. So she left him. They split up for like almost a year, and he wanted to reconcile. And she said, the only way we can reconcile is if we open the marriage, because I think that you will continue to cheat on me, since clearly I wasn't enough for you to begin with. You went and cheated. Let's just open the marriage. And he didn't want to do it, but he wanted to keep his wife, and that was her one condition. So he said yes. And he's now saying after 2 years, the marriage is all good and well. Everything's back to normal, except he's struggling because he feels like he can't handle it, essentially. He feels like if he sees his wife really bubbly or, perky around the house, it's like, is it me or is it them? And then, this was the other part, that when they agreed to open the relationship, that they would not talk to each other about what they were doing. They would not say when they're doing other things, who they're doing it with. They'll just go on business as usual. And so he's dying. I'm sorry. He's dying inside a little bit, and he doesn't know what to do.
Because he doesn't want that.
Yeah, he's saying he doesn't want that.
Did he say if he is actually
He
partaking?
didn't, and that's the crazy thing, because I went to go like listen to. It's just very similar to like when people write in to us. It's like we don't always get all the details, but I would have to believe that if they've been doing this for 2 years, he's seeing somebody. I don't believe that he's just like, well, I'm gonna just love it for fun. I ain't gonna do nothing. Although you have the green light to do it.
They're trying to reconcile. They trying to show you like, no, like I'm good. I ain't doing it no more. I'm sorry. Some people.
I ain't showing you nothing that you doing. Let me just tell you that right now. No, we agreed that we both gonna do this. Yeah. So I thought it was just really interesting for 2 reasons. But I want to hear your take on this. What do you think about her decision?
I'm a big believer that when it comes to relationships, people choose what they want to do, and it's an agreement between those two people. If that's what you want to do. It may not be how I would do it or how I would like to do it, but if that's what y'all want to do, then that's what y'all want to do. I think it is the ultimate mental, like, excuse my language, fuck though, is to like, she is playing with him like,
real bad.
Real crazy.
Well, she could be coming in that house acting extra happy, although she didn't even do anything. She could be in there like, I'm about to cook. No problem. Whole time. She just trying to stick it to him.
And then he trying to get it, trying to have sex with her. She's like, no, I'm just tired. It's a long day.
And he like, is that the actual reason?
Is that the reason? Because you came in real happy.
And then you showered right when you got in here. So you sure you tired? Or maybe you are tired. What you tired from?
And for my man, I mean, the saving grace is it's probably one guy.
Oh, that's true.
Probably one or two.
Yeah.
Probably one though.
Probably one.
Yeah, it's like
no, I believe that it's one.
Especially being married. I feel like open marriage, like you are very, even though it's still an open marriage, you're very probably cognizant and very careful with the people that you are having relations with, because it has to be the right situation. That person has to understand your situation and not be messy and not blow things up, and has to be somebody who understands that. So I mean, it's probably only one other person.
Yeah. Do you think that she's doing it out of spite, like in a vengeful way, or do you think that she really desired that? Like she was already thinking it, and then once she caught him cheating, it was like, oh, bet.
I think that maybe she was separated and missed some of the things that her life provided when she was married. And then probably in her head, it's possible that prior to her figuring out he was cheating, she thought things were fine and things were good. So maybe it's her loving the lifestyle of being married and the things that come from that.
Yeah.
And when she was separated, she realized she missed that, but
and they also have kids too.
Yeah, and they have kids and thought it would be better for the kids, but realized like, hey, if I don't have expectations, then I can't get disappointed. And then kind of also like being out, meeting somebody. If I liked them, I got to pursue that a little bit because it was, I was attracted to them. So she gets the best of both worlds, and she's living carefree, however she would like to live. Now it's like, it's bad when the shoe's on the other foot. What they say, it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. I was about to say that. It ain't so fun when the rabbit got the gun and you on the other side of that. And it's like, you was in a committed relationship. She was committed to you, and you was out here having your fun, doing whatever you wanted while your wife was back home, and you come back to home, kiss her, you take your shower and do the thing you're going to do. Now it's on the other foot, and it's not even a secret.
Nope.
She out here, and she may or may not, but...
It's the
but who knows? Who knows?
I think it's interesting for two parts. People have said, women have said, and I think it's mostly true, that most men cannot handle the things that they do. They cannot take their own medicine, especially when it comes to cheating or seeing other people. I think even in society, we make it seem like it's so normal and natural for men to want more than one woman. But the craziest thing in the world for a woman to possibly want more than one man. And I think that's just an individual human experience. Some people just do want more than one, and it don't matter if they're a man or a woman. I chuckled, a little bit, and not to because I do in my heart of hearts feel bad that he is in some way kind of suffering. Yeah. Because he's going along with something that he really does not want to do, according to what he's saying. Like, I do not want to do this. And so for that reason, I think it was not smart on his part to agree to something that you really didn't want to do, because that's a big agreement.
Yeah.
Like, some people go through cheating and like, okay, we'll reconcile, but I have to have the passwords to your phone, or you have to go above and beyond to prove to me that I can trust you again.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a big ask to be like, nah, the hell with all of that. Keep your passwords to yourself. What I'm gonna need to do is go out here and get me somebody else. That's like, oh wow. Like, oh wow. So I think it was not smart of him to agree to it. But hey, here you are. And I think he should be honest with her and tell her, like, it has now been 2 years. The reality is, this does not make me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, I'm sorry. I get this is your standard, but I'm just curious if there's any possibility that we can stop doing this, because it's not working out. Like, you have my new renewed commitment that I will not cheat on you. And then see what she says, because
she can really hurt that man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, 'cause she already hurting him, but she could easily be like, no, I don't want to do that, because I enjoy our life and everything that we're doing. But us having an open relationship allows me to get to where I need to get sexually. He'd be like,
it's not funny. It's not funny. Woo! I saw this guy
what's that
say,
little meme to do?
Yeah. I wanna go home. I bet you do. I bet you want to go. You dying inside now. You wasn't dying inside on them little hotel visits with them 3 months.
Nope.
But yeah, I just thought it was really interesting.
That is very interesting.
Yes.
That is very
blessings to y'all.
Hope things work out for the best.
Yes. If you're listening to Real Love Scenario by any chance, write in. We would love to know what's happening. We would love to do a deep dive on your situation. Yes, let us know. But let's get into our real love scenario for this week. I do want to say that this person actually wrote in twice.
Yes.
They were very persistent that we need to talk about their situation. And so thank you for writing in twice. And we're going to tackle this today.
Yes.
Shout out to this person, because it's a guy, but they do want to remain anonymous. He says, hey, what's going on, Dre? The hell with me. Just Rhonda not here. No worries.
Come on, man.
I'm kidding.
Rhonda has her fans. Most of the fans here are
I'm kidding. It's okay. He says he's a fan of the show, and he's looking for relationship advice. Listening to you has helped me a lot so far, but I would also like more words from you, because I'm in a state of confusion. The situation is, I've been with my girlfriend since we were 14. We have been through high school together, a long distance relationship in college, and all of that. Now we are back both home again in the DMV at 24 years old, but are still both living with our parents. After a little week of her acting weird, we had a few chats through text and a face conversation of how she's been feeling. She let me know that she feels like a part of her will always be sad, that she has never experienced anything else. Also says she feels like we have been dating to marry for a while as well, like no way she found her person already. Our relationship has always been built on friendship and being there for one another, and nothing has changed so far, even through this. I understand where she's coming from to the best of my ability, although I don't feel the exact same way. We both want to be together in the end, no matter what happens. It all does just feel easy and natural and fun together. We've discussed taking a break, what that would look like, what it entails, all the way down to the fine details around sex. The sex part is rough for me, though, because we are each other's first and only everything. She has stressed how much she loves me, respects me, but her internal feelings have been rough on her for the last month, and she feels really guilty about it. We've continued to spend time together. We're making future plans as if everything is all right. Also, this month of opening up to each other has made our relationship stronger on both sides. Having effective and honest communication on what we both want and don't feel comfortable with. At the end of the day, I don't want to break, but I told her if she needs to do this to make it work, then let's do it with a goal in mind. We've continued to enjoy life together, and I don't want to end and lose my best friend. How would you go about handling this? A break isn't something she's sure about, and I have confidence in myself that I've done my job of being a friend and a boyfriend to her, and I have confidence in her. Through our open communication, I appreciate all the help. As you can tell, I'm very confused. So,
So, all right, we can start. This is a long message. Thank you for writing in. We
Yes.
appreciate it.
Yes.
And I know this situation. I've been on the other side of this situation and been in this situation. I've had my fun, and I've been with somebody who needed to spread their wings first before getting into something.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
Tell me more, Dre.
Which
The person that you were with that needed to spread their wings more.
Yeah, so there was and I understood it because I went to college. I was out of college already. It was like my first year out of college. And there was this girl that I went to high school with, and I always thought she was attractive. I guess she thought I was attractive as well, but we would just always be friends. Like we were friends. But then once she got older, because when I was like a senior, I think she was like a sophomore or something like that. So once you get older, she's like in college now. She was in New York and Brooklyn, and she had asked, and you could tell that she liked me, but we would always say that we were friends. She was a virgin. She was like, all that. And essentially I was at this point, after college, I thought I was ready for a relationship at this point.
Yeah.
So she had told me that she asked to go to dinner or something one day, and then she basically like admitted to me, is like, hey, like, I like you a lot. I want you to take my virginity. Like, I want like all these different things to put me on it.
Okay.
And I was just like, that's so crazy. Like, I feel like, I like you too, and I'm ready to do X, Y, and Z and whatever. And, we can have a relationship. But I think, and I went up to New York to visit her, and it was cool. But I think she realized that, all right, this is not, like, I haven't had time to really, I've been so sheltered because her background is like Indian. So she always had been sheltered with her parents and stuff like that.
Okay.
And she never had a chance to really like explore. So I think that she realized like, whoa, like I see where he's at and he's ready for something serious. And she was more like, I want to, like, I think I'm just now noticing this, but I think that now I want to kind of explore things and, see where life takes me. And yeah, I let her do that. And the friendship was never the same. We're not even friends right now to this point. But it wasn't a thing to where I was waiting for her either. It was like, go have your fun. And if things come back and we're aligned at some point, then we'll come back and we're aligned. But I'm not waiting for you to explore just to, get back in a relationship.
Yeah.
So,
did you guys still communicate?
Yeah. Because even after that weekend, she told me that. And then she was going to something on a Sunday, because I was leaving on a Sunday. She was going to like a game or something for a college. She was like, oh, come with me. Like, I want you to come with me. And I was like, nah, I'm good. Like, you said you want to explore. I don't want to go back and forth and do this and do that. No, if you want to have your fun, like have your fun, do what you ever want to do. And I'm going to do whatever I want to do, as if this is not ever going to be a thing anymore. And if our paths cross again, then they do in that way. But we communicated on and off less frequently than we had, and then it kind of fizzled out, especially once I ended up getting in my relationship. Then I'm sure that if I was not in a relationship right now, if I wasn't with Bree, we probably would have reconnected at some point.
Sure.
And she is much older now, 4 or 5 years down the road, more mature. Like, everybody's different. It could have been a reconnection, but I found somebody in that time.
You explored your options and you found your wife.
Exactly. Yes. So that's how
that works.
Yeah.
Wow.
I gotta show you a picture of the person and everything.
Yeah, we're not, I'm just really.
You normally updated with all my situations. That's why you were like, huh?
Yes. Like, I'm like, damn, did I know you during this time? But maybe not. No. Before. It sounds like before we met.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay.
But she's cool. Nothing wrong with her. I understand her journey. Like, because I was there. I was in college.
Yes.
And I understand her perspective because she was so sheltered. I got the chance to explore myself. So after college, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm ready for something a little bit more serious. But she never had the opportunity. And I don't think she realized it until somebody that she actually liked was like, are you ready to? And then she probably evaluated, was like, I don't know if I'm completely ready to actually do this.
Okay.
So
got it.
yeah.
Okay. Well, this is so good. So you have great perspective on this. I was like, Dre's not gonna be. I don't know if Dre's ever had an experience with this.
Yeah.
But okay, that's so cool. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you
No
for
problem.
obliging me. I think open relationships are it's similar to what you said earlier, just because it's something that you may not do or may not want to do for yourself. We support people doing what works for them as long as everybody's on the same page. Everybody in the relationship agrees to it. So I would not say that open relationships are a bad thing. I would just say they require an elevated level of maturity and honesty and understanding, and patience with yourself, especially if your relationship started out monogamous.
For sure.
If you walked into it open, I think you have a better chance at having success at it. But I think if you started a monogamous relationship and then decide within that relationship years in, like, I was thinking I want to see somebody else. I think those are way harder to navigate. And similar to you, I have had my own experience with an open relationship, and it was not a good thing for my relationship. I like to consider it the beginning of the end.
What made you be okay with doing it? Was it just optimism, or things in a relationship weren't going the way that you felt like they need to go? So it was like an attempt to try to recover or try to save it to a certain extent?
So things weren't going bad in our relationship at all. And it was not my idea. It wasn't even a thought in my mind. But two things made me agree to it. One, in full transparency, I was not sexually satisfied in my relationship, although my partner did not know that at the time.
You don't think they could sense it? They could probably sense it though.
Slightly, but not. Okay, I was unhappy. I was very unhappy. I think by that time when he brought it up, he thought that it was just like a little bit.
Yeah.
But I was very unhappy. I was like actually almost okay with like not doing it at all.
Yeah.
Like I figured out how to just have fulfillment and joy in other ways with him.
For sure.
Like I would get this, not the same pleasure, but I would get just a lot of pleasure out of, let's just watch movies together. Let's just like take a vacation. But it never, the sex was like an afterthought to me. So much so, not at that point, but at some point, I wouldn't even notice how long we were going without having sex. He always knew,
of course,
how long it was, but I did not. So after we talked about it, and I was, at first I said no when he brought it to me, because he did it in a very like, I was on travel for work, and I came back and he's like, "Oh, babe, I want you to watch this thing," and that was normal because we love watching shows, series, whatever together. And he's like, "I want you to watch this series with me. I started watching it while you were away. It's about polyamory," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Thought nothing of it. We just watching it, and the more I'm watching it, we're watching it. He's doing what a lot of people do when they really like something. Look at this part right here. Listen to what you about to say right here. I'm like, you keep doing that. Like, so I was like, are you trying to tell me something? And he was like, no. I just thought it was really interesting. I'm like, okay, cool. We keep watching it, and he keeps doing that. And I'm like, are you sure you're not trying to tell me something? And finally, he was like, I just think this is something we should consider. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if we should do that. We met with other couples who were poly. We did a lot of research online. We actually researched for 5 months before we agreed to do it. Like, we joined a group online, read about stuff, because opening up your relationship, it is allowing other people into it. It's allowing influences, even if it's just sexually. Somebody else having your body is an influence on your body. It is. And let alone if you're talking to the person or dating the person, it's a lot. So we wanted to really do it right. And the biggest lesson, not the lesson, but the biggest piece of advice we got from the main couple that we interacted with was, as much as you will naturally want to be dishonest, because that's what you do when you're monogamous and you're seeing somebody else, you lie. As much as you will want to be that way, you must tell the truth. You must tell your person. When you're feeling the feelings, when you're going to see somebody, you know, you set your rules and your boundaries, but the cornerstone of this has to be honesty. And so that part was very hard. It was hard. It was hard for me, and it was also hard for him. And we struggled with it several times. Through it. Like, he lied to me about a woman that he was seeing. I believe that he had her in our apartment, although that was one of our boundaries, that we would not entertain people in our home. I feel like she was in there, and I kind of caught it, but like after the fact.
Yeah.
I lied to him about going and seeing somebody before I was supposed to meet this person with him. He found someone, like, he hooked me up.
Yeah.
If you're watching on YouTube, I'm looking at you in the camera. Crazy. He hooked me up with somebody.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very strange and weird. And I was scared. Like, I don't know if I want to go and meet this man with my man, because that's what he arranged. Like, we'll go meet him together. I met him already, but we'll go meet him together. So I went and saw him before. I went to his place of work, which is where he met him.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think you met my boyfriend a couple of days ago. He told you we were in an open relationship. He was like, oh yeah, da da da. So I lied about going and doing that, you know. So the honesty part was difficult.
Yeah.
But it was so short lived. We did more research. We spent more time researching than actually being in an open relationship. And once I actually did it with that person that he hooked me up with, it was literally that night. It was the end, the beginning of the end. Yeah. He was very much like the man from the Shade Room, like, made me feel like I cheated on him. I mean, we argued. That's probably the only time in our 4.5-year relationship that we actually argued with like elevated voices, tears. Like, it felt like we were about to break up. He made me feel like and I didn't lie to him about going and doing what I was doing with the guy. He knew that. But he was like, this is so messed up. Like, you saying his name in your sleep. I'm like, I just met this guy. Like, you would be so ridiculous right now. Like, when I came home, it was probably like 11 p.m. He's never asleep at 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Whole house was dark. TV was off, in the bed with the covers on him. I walk in, I'm like, you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm asleep. I'm like, no, you're not. Like, what is this about?
So exactly, you told him that you were going there.
Yes, he knew that I was going there. Okay. He knew that I was going there. He knew for a couple of days. Me and a guy had scheduled it and all of that.
That is so odd to me. I could never do that. Yeah. I could never do that. I mean, even if Bree introduced that, I don't think I could even
try it
or not say stay in a relationship if she introduced it, but for some reason you're saying you're not satisfied with me. Mm-hmm. And you're trying to introduce something else to help satisfy you in some way. And that's a red flag for me to be like, well, we need to figure this out, or I'm not going to go through this thing with you being unsatisfied, because it's going to ultimately, you know, turn into something not good. And I think that's a big part of this scenario as well, is that resentment is such a silent killer in relationships. And it's like, once it rears its ugly head, sometimes it's almost too late at that point. Yeah. That you have to notice those times where somebody says something and not gloss over it, because we gloss over things a lot. If somebody says something like, I just want to explore, I just want to whatever, and you're like, and then you talk about it and then you gloss over it. But it's like, I feel like in a situation with this person, you have to let her go, because if you have that itch, she's going to resent you for not being able to explore that. Even though it was her decision to get in a relationship with you, you did nothing really wrong in that situation, but try to be the best boyfriend or fiance or husband you could possibly be. But she's always going to be thinking about, dang, like, is this the best out here for me? I didn't get the chance to really try anything or have fun or, you know, do the things that I wanted to do. So that's why I say you got to let those people fly, because I think now being in a committed relationship in college with somebody I really liked, and now knowing the feeling of being married, like, you can't go into a committed, like, long-term marriage thing if you still got an itch that needs to be scratched. Right. Even if it's just a small itch, because when I was in college, I didn't cheat on my girlfriend, like go out but I still had an itch. I would still have girls come up to me and I'm like, yeah, I want to explore that, or like see something like, I want to do that. And it's like, until you get rid of that feeling or don't have that feeling anymore, you're always going to, it's going to affect your relationship in some way, somehow. Even if it's not you actually going out and cheating, it might be you self-sabotaging or sabotaging the situation so that it becomes bad, that gives you the justification to cheat. You know what I'm saying? So
you take the very long way to get what you want.
yeah, you take the long way to get what you want, but you're going to want to get there because you want to explore it and you want to try it, especially if the person makes you mad or upset. And then it's like, that's always going to be in the back of your head.
Yeah.
That's why I knew I was ready for Bree and that she was a person for me, because that was the first time when bad things happen, I wanted to work it out and not leave and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And when I would see other women who I felt were beautiful or felt look good and stuff like that, I was just like, nah, I'm good. Like, I don't want that.
I can acknowledge, you answered my question because I was about to ask that question. Like, I don't think that feeling of like seeing, like the feeling you said you had in college, like you would see someone and you'd be like, damn, like you get that itch. You still have eyes and the person is still attractive to you. You could potentially even, have a passing thought of like, but it's not an itch where you feel like you need to like scratch it. You don't need to touch it. You could see it. It could go by you. And it's like, okay, like nice looking. If I was single, I would.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I'm not. And I'm really okay with passing on it. I will say though, what I do know for a fact about open relationships that work, the ones that truly work, that are truly designed the way that they should be, is that people wanting to be in them, it has absolutely nothing to do with the primary partner. Like they don't seek additional partners because they're not happy with their primary partner. It has nothing to do with that person. They are in fact happy with that person. Their decision or desire to want one or more other partners is about them. It's nothing to do with, well, you're deficient. And I think that's why I say I think it works best when people come into open relationships open. Like you know it from day one, because your mindset should be much more trained and much more understanding that the idea is that my person needs this to be happy. My person needs this to fulfill them. It's no different if the person said, I like to play golf every Saturday. We wouldn't think anything of that. That's his thing. He likes it. He said it from the door. So he goes and plays golf every Saturday. For people who are polyamorous, not polygamous, polyamorous or ethically non-monogamous, which is another phrase that people use for open, they understand that this is about self. This is nothing to do with you. I do love you. I do want to be with you. I enjoy everything that you provide to me, and I'm doing this for myself. And to me, that's the only way it works. If every single person in the situation is operating under that. Yes. So that's why I say introducing it once you've been monogamous, it sends up those red flags of like, alert, 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 something's wrong. I'm going to go outside and get it from somewhere else. And that's why I don't think it worked for me. And that's why I think it would be difficult in his situation, because you have been with this person for 10 years, but you started dating very young. You dated at 14, where in general, most people don't consider that a real relationship at 14, 15, 16, none of those years. But I think at 24, which is how they are today, I do think you have to acknowledge and allow her to explore this, because she is saying, I need this. But similar to what you did, Dre, is that you're not sitting around and waiting.
Yeah, I mean, he has to understand that her only reservation is that she cares about you, not that she wants to do it. That's the only reason that she's like, I kind of, if she didn't care about you, she'd be out. But she cares about your feelings, how that makes you feel. I'm sure she does love you, has a lot of feelings towards you. So that's her only really reservation, is making you feel like she wish she could have the best of both worlds and just not have you feel so bad and, feel a way about it, with her still being able to explore. But I don't believe in, personally for me, having those type of breaks or calling that a break. Because essentially what it is that if you are still going to be around, if she knows that you're still waiting on her, and then also if you still have communication with her throughout this moment, then that's not a break. It's just a part of your relationship. And then that just will become like like almost like a norm for your relationship. It could become woven into the fabric of what your relationship is built upon. That there are times and moments to where y'all may meet breaks and you'll still be around and you'll still hold things down. You'll still have conversation, but she can go out and explore and do what she wants to do. It's like if that's not what you want out of a relationship, then you shouldn't be waiting around or doing that because it needs to be clear that this was the relationship. We were committed. We were together. We did what we did. We completely cut it off.
Yep.
We weren't in a relationship. You was doing whatever you want. And if you want to get back into a relationship with me, I require that same level of commitment and everything like that. And I just, like I said, that's why breaks, that type of situation isn't really for me because I don't like that. The
idea of a break. And that's where I think he's going wrong in what he wrote, where he said, I told her that we could do this with a goal in mind.
Yeah.
You cannot control what will happen once she explores another option.
That's what I'm saying.
You cannot control what happens because what happens if she does find an option that she thinks is more suitable for her. Again, not better than you, more suitable for her.
He's like, you got to do
the goal will change.
You got to do like, don't you know all them old movies is any movie, this is classic. Maybe in the 90s, early 2000s, always happens. Whenever there's a movie to where a kid or somebody ends up making or becoming friends with like an animal or something like that. And let's say it's a wild animal, gorilla, lion, tiger, anything like that. There's always that part at the end where they got to set them free. And they're like, go.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, I don't like you anymore. Go. Like, leave. No.
Yes. I was like, where is this going? Movie?
Yeah.
Person makes friend with animal with, but
it's
I got you.
Every single movie, it's like, go. I don't like you anymore. Go. And you like being mean
to get
them.
You gotta go be free.
Like, like, that's what you need to do is just be like, go. Like,
go be free.
We're done. Go be free. Like, do what you need to do.
Yes.
And if our paths cross somehow, some way, because one thing people have to understand in this like exploratory phase and this free like phase, that's not a phase that's absent of relationships. It's not a be single phase. It's just a try new things phase. Like I've only had 2 real girlfriends, which is now my wife and my girlfriend in college. But you know how many micro relationships I had through there? They didn't necessarily have a title. I was committed to them. They were committed to me. We was playing house. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like to where there was actual like people I was exclusive with for maybe it was 2 months or 3 months or something like that. And that was still part of my exploratory phase. But I don't want him thinking that she's just out single and just having fun. And it's like hookups here, hookups there. It's like, no, she might meet somebody and it's like for a good 4 months, she like, oh, I'm liking this person. This person is doing it for me. I like the way they, sex, everything is like, everything is working for me. And that's going to be a full relationship that she's going to be in. Will it last? Probably not, or maybe not.
Yeah.
And will it be something that she seriously pursues? Maybe not.
Right.
But it's going to be something, she's going to get into some relationships and stuff during that break. So you being around, like, won't make sense.
Yeah. And I would totally tell him to, go into this if he had somehow indicated that he too was feeling these feelings and he just didn't come to her with it. But now that she's come to him with it, he's like, damn, that's kind of cool because I was thinking about this too.
Yeah.
But you weren't. So you would only be doing this for her. You would only be doing this because you are expecting that if you give this to her, she is going to come back to you. And you can't, this is not a boomerang. You do not know that. You have absolutely no control over that. And it's sweet that you all are trying to create all of these little, okay, we could do this, right? But the goal at the end of the day, remember, is to get back together.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Because she's going to be a different person after that.
Yes.
She's going to have a different experiences, different perspective on life. And she may not view things the same way because to a certain extent she has been sheltered. She hasn't been able to experience things. I had a friend like that a friend currently who started off dating a guy since high school and it was a new experience, like a thing. They've been together so long. They were supposed to get married, but he had cheated after I think they were together for 7, 8, 9 years, something like that. Long time. And they were together since high school. Once she exited that relationship, like it's never been the same for her. She's a beautiful girl. And then she realized, like, she went out to Miami, got pulled in a section with like big rappers and stuff like that. And it became this thing to where like people would see her and think she was stunning. And it was like, whoa, this is a whole new world that I just got exposed to.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize if I go to this place, people that I saw on TV or something like that will be like, yo, like, I want to hang out with you, or like come to our section, or hang out with us here, come to this place, pull up to this private party. Didn't even know that was a thing.
Right.
So now if the dude comes back 4 or 5 years later and is like, hey, I'm trying to get with you, remember that thing we had? And it's like, I'm a kind of a different person now based off of the things I've been exposed to. Maybe not internally different, but like I've been exposed to a lot more. I know now that I've experienced this, and this. And now I realize I do want this in a person, and I do want that in a person. And I don't like the thing that you did and how you did things, because I realized that there's a different way of doing it now. So yeah. It's when people get exposed to new things, they're gonna come back a different person. So that may not, the person that you see now after she explores may not even be the person that
she will be a different person, and you may not even like that person. And she may not even like you in the way that you do. I do want to play devil's advocate a little bit on the opposite side of it though, around this thing of like, I want to explore, like I have this feeling and I need to do that. And I've heard people talk about, and to some degree, I agree with it, that don't get married too young, don't commit too young. You need to get that out. You need to explain. I mean, you said it to some degree, like you did it. I did.
You have to.
I did all of these things so that by the time I committed, it was out of me. But do you really feel like everyone needs to do that?
Yes.
Why?
I feel like everybody needs to do that, but I think everybody has different thresholds of what everybody needs to get, whatever it is out their system.
Okay.
And we were just talking about that at the wedding. To a lot of our friends are married, and the guys were just talking, and the one guy was talking about like how he got in his career and he started making big money, and like being in a town to where it was like popping, and he was in Houston, and how he got big money and how he was just going crazy.
Yeah.
And he was like, you never got to experience that because you got there earlier, but you never got like the money that you're making now, the clout that you have now. You've never been single in that space. But he was like, also knowing you still may not have went crazy like I went crazy. And I say that all to say is that I felt like what it took for me to feel like I was done wouldn't have been the same for him. It took him a lot more to feel like, all right, I've done it all. And I've been through it all, and I ran through it all to be able to settle down. So I feel like everybody goes through it. It's just their threshold is different. I got with Bree when I was 23, made the commitment to wait for marriage when I was around 23 years old. And for me, everything that I had did between college and that time was enough for me. I was like, I've seen it all, been with a lot of beautiful women. I've done this and done that, been to different countries, had sex with women in different, and I'm cool now. To where what I did doesn't even scratch the surface to what some other people have done to feel like, all right, this is enough for me. So I think it's, yes, everybody has to go through that process of getting it out their system. It's just what that thing is that you, need to experience to say I'm done is different for people. Like what level that you have to reach to say I'm done is different for people. But I feel like everybody has to go through that.
Interesting. I don't, right? I think it's an individual thing. I don't think everybody has to experience that, because that could happen at different points in a person's life. Like you just talked about the guy who came into a certain amount of wealth and money, and then that gave him a different outlook to some degree. Even probably had people looking at him differently, getting attention that he may not have gotten before. Some people may not get to that space until they're 50 or 55. Like that's just how your career worked out or your business ventures worked out. And so, yeah, you may have been having sex and doing all these different things for those 20, let's say from college, you graduate 21, 22. So for 20 something years, 28 years, yeah, you have been doing something up until 50. Maybe you got married, maybe you didn't. That now new experience is going to, of course, bring about new attention or potentially even new desires. So I feel like that cycling could happen. It doesn't always happen when you're young. It doesn't always happen when you're in high school and in college. It can happen later. What if you were like a ugly duckling and then at 30 you decided to get in the gym, get a little surgery, fix your teeth, whatever, and now at 30 you're like, people like women that you never, or men never, that you never paid you any attention are looking at you, but you have now committed. You got married at, call it 25. You change your physical appearance, and now people are like, do you now need to get it out of your system? Because that's something that you couldn't have gotten out of your system in college.
So that's the thing, is that, yes, I feel like that's still the case. That if, like, that's the difference with me, is that I feel like now in this new world that we're in, we're around celebrities or people that you only see on TV, and access to a lot of different people and access to a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And it's like, I am not fazed by that in that environment, because I feel like I got all that out my system. Like, even when I first met Bree, I was in property management. We were both in property management. I wasn't around celebrities or in arm reach or have their numbers in my phone and stuff like that, or invited to these places. But now that I'm on this level and do have access to those things, it still doesn't faze me, because I got it out of my system and I was truly done. So even with the glow up or whatever, I'm still good. And that's what I mean. Like, you got to get it. So somebody could not be tempted by something because they never had access to it. That's true. But I think if you glowed up and you had access to new things, that it's going to entice some people. You see people like that. I don't know, I may get this wrong, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you know more about this situation. And I don't even know if this was the cause, but what's the guy, light-skinned dude that played on Grey's Anatomy?
Oh, Jesse Williams.
Wasn't that like a situation where he was was that the same type of situation, or no?
No, it wasn't a glow up aesthetically.
No,
you mean like financially?
Financially, and in his notoriety of like who he was, especially after that speech at was it BT Awards? Like, I feel like he was just like up and on.
I think his cheating, I don't think it was like that, because I think his cheating happened by design of unhappiness and then proximity. The person he was having an affair with was his coworker. They were on a film together. And then that happened. So I don't know, perhaps that woman would not have paid him any attention. That's very possible if he was not her co-star on a film. But I think his is more so proximity.
So maybe that's a bad example, but I'm just saying that there are plenty of situations where once people have that, but then you have situations where people they get around that. That's one thing my cousin always said. He was telling me about it in reference to what I was talking about, but he was talking about what Chris Brown had said one time. Is like, Chris Brown was like, before he became famous, like, young light-skinned dudes sing, like, regardless of him being famous, whether he was in a UPS uniform or whatever, he'll be able to pull any girl that he wants to a certain extent. So he's not necessarily phased now going into fame and, oh, this beautiful woman likes me, I'm tripping out, to where you see a lot of famous people or a lot of people with clout or a lot of people who get money because they never had access to those type of people before. When they do get access to those people, it blows their mind and they don't know how to act, and then they act outside themselves, or then they cheat and do things or are trying to upgrade or anything like that. I think I'm blessed to where I've had those experiences. I've been with beautiful women. Every woman that I pretty much wanted to be with, that I met and thought was attractive, I had the opportunity to be with them. I also married somebody who's beautiful as well. So it's not like I'm looking like I could upgrade. Like, I don't know how much better I could really do to me in my situation.
I mean, like, me personally, I don't know either.
Like, it's
because I was in Bree's DM the other day, like, yes, ma'am. yes, ma'ams.
Like, I don't
know. Not to be weird, but girl, I see you, sis. I see you.
Like, is it increment? Like, if any, it's not better. It would be different.
It's different, surely.
In this standpoint, it wouldn't be better or anything like that.
And again, we're just talking aesthetics. Right. We're cheekily talking aesthetics. Yeah.
But yeah, I just think for me, it's like I had to get that out of my system, and I think so now that even when I go to these spaces and meet these people, or I can go to a modeling job to where it's half women, half men, and we're staying in a hotel for 3 days, and my wife is back home, and I'm in a hotel with everybody, and I'm still like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Because I've already got out my system. So yeah, I feel like everybody need to do it. You see some people later in life, they get it out their system, and it's like,
Yikes.
yeah, yikes.
Yeah. So I think, you know, and I know we got to wrap this up soon, but I think that this is such an unfortunate truth, right? What you're talking about. I don't necessarily agree with it because I think, like I said, it's individual. To me, it's person by person because some people
do you know people who have never gotten out of their system that are thriving and happy in their relationships today?
Yes, but they're like 80. They're like 70. They're like old. They're the very old people.
And you know 100% they get it out there. They got it out their system.
No, I don't know 100%. I just know based on what they told me. I don't know 100% of anything.
Yeah.
I got to take everybody's word for it, you know. But
there was no cheating or no nothing. Okay.
Right. But again, I think, yeah, I don't know because I think some people don't have the same urges. Some people don't have that same. I gotta conquer 10, 20 bodies, or I gotta have the freedom to like hunt. Because so much of this, what you're talking about, is rooted in sex. So much of it is rooted in carnal desires. I was about to say
that I don't even think it's a sexual thing either, because I feel like some people, that's like with for the girls, they talk about whole phase, that they hate the name of it because it's not necessarily going out and sleep with a whole bunch of people. It's exploratory phase, a free phase. Some women like using men to a certain extent is like get drinks or get trips or get tables, like, and if you're in a relationship, all that shut off to be able to do that. But
or
if
not,
you're
but yeah, you can't do it with other people.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
but it's like to be out and like get pulled in the section and have free drinks and stuff like that, it's inappropriate if you're in a relationship. So it's almost like exploratory phase, not necessarily saying that you're sleeping with a whole bunch of people, but it's whatever, you have to get whatever it is out of your system, and it's at whatever threshold that is for you, but it's something that you have to have time to explore. And after you explore, you may realize like, this not for me.
Yeah.
Or you may have one night stand and be like, yeah, this is not how I like to get down. This not for me, and I just like to have fun, turn up. But so it's not necessarily for me a sexual thing. I just think everybody needs that time to explore. And then also, like, you talk about like older couples, I just think society dictates things a lot too. Like,
for
that
sure.
generation, it was just a lot different. First, the access to different people and different things, but also what was required of you and how you should behave and should act was just also very, very different versus like now.
Yeah. I think that family and commitment from a monogamous standpoint was just much more of a push in the call it between like the 30s and like the 60s.
Yeah, getting married is what you did. You got married and you had kids. That's what you.
That's
were
what you did.
To do.
It was like check. 1, 2, 3. This is what you do. Where now, so much of what we do and talk about is about making sure that you're good as an individual, which could look like a lot of things. It could. The thing you might need to get out of your system is your career, right? You just need to get to a certain point. You're not comfortable until you're making this amount of money or you have this particular title. But I do think open relationships are mostly rooted in sex. I know that there are people who say that, but I think they are mostly rooted in like the chief reason why you want that is for the purpose of having more than one sexual partner through agreement, through permission. I know that a lot of other things come with it, just like no different with cheating. Everybody isn't just cheating just to pardon my French, bust a nut. Some people are cheating for that, and they're enjoying this person's mind. They're enjoying what this person does for their heart or spirit, and you're getting a whole situation out of that.
For sure.
But take the sex away, maybe not. And I know women, they emotionally cheat. Yes, women do. So do men. But I also feel like if you do it long enough, it will ultimately lead to that, and that will be the glue. That will be the glue. I don't know anyone who is in a open situation where they're not sleeping with other people. Like, I'm sleep with my person, but over here I just date and talk to this person.
I think what you said is what makes the most sense to me, is that I don't think I could be in a relationship, then it transitioned to open and it worked.
No.
I think it would have to be, like, I'm just thinking about it in my head. It's like, I feel like I could, if I had to do that, I could do that with somebody who's already a friend. And it's like, I care about this person and they're my friend.
Yeah.
and then it's almost like a partnership of the relationship.
I'm with
and we
you.
have things that we agree on and think it's best that if we do it together, it'll be more advantageous or beneficial. But we're okay going in with doing our own things. And I could
I'm with
think
you.
like, yeah, there's probably some friends that I could have did that with if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But not like this is our relationship and then we do that. Nah,
I'm not sharing
couldn't work.
nothing that I didn't agree to share
Yeah.
from the door. And if I did, I think the only way it could work is if I lost some of my like for you. And then that could come over a 25, 35 year relationship. I just don't say I don't care about you as much. I do care about you, but if you go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Like you probably sleeping in the upper room anyway.
And then for me, I just break
years,
it off. Like I couldn't.
No, I'm with you. So it's not for me. It's not for Dre.
No.
And it doesn't actually sound like it's for Anonymous technically. No. I do appreciate that they've had so much open and honest conversation about it, especially at 24. I feel like that is not a thing when you're that young. Like you'd be like, what? You want to mess with somebody else? Get the hell out of here. So I'm proud of them for doing that. But I do think if you're going to release her, I use air quotes because this is ultimately her decision. But if you're going to release her, truly release it. Truly let it go. And if it is, as the saying goes, if it's meant to be, it'll come back. It'll come back together. But I would not recommend setting a goal for the break. Just be hopeful if you would like, but do your thing.
And don't guilt trip her. Don't make her feel bad. Don't, because it's a natural feeling. She's communicated it. Because that's the thing in relationships. It's not, rarely, there are a few things in relationships that just are general no-nos. The lying, the trust, the communication, the foundational things of a relationship. But a lot of what makes a relationship work or not work is based off of you and what you like and what you want. So you have to understand the difference between somebody actually doing something wrong from a relationship standpoint and somebody expressing what they feel that they need. So it's like, she's not wrong for feeling something and saying, I need this. And I feel like I want this in order for me to be the best I can be for you or whoever I'm in relationship with. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. It doesn't mean she did anything wrong. So don't, in this situation, if she wants to explore, guilt trip her or make her feel bad for having the feeling that she has. Because it's a natural feeling. And I'm sure that if she could just erase it, she would. Like,
because she says she feels guilty.
Yeah,
she feels bad for feeling this way.
Yeah, there's a lot of feelings that we all have that we're like, dang, I wish I could be as savage as that person or as like not caring as this person about these things. I wish I didn't care about these things because then it seems like things would be more simpler for us. But it's like, I am who I am and I do care. So it's like,
I do love you. I do respect you. I'm not trying to hurt you. So
don't make her feel bad about it.
Yeah, it's a tough one. And you just so crazy. You just said on our last episode, them first relationships, they don't never work out. We ain't saying that's gonna be the case for y'all, but damn it.
Because the person you say y'all met at 14. 14 to 16 is a different person. 16 to 18 is a different. When you're in those,
and they went to two different colleges.
Yeah, when you're in those years, like you are transforming weekly, monthly, like annually. You're a different person. Because you haven't been exposed to anything really, and you're learning. It's like that's the time. A lot of times I remember. And I'll leave with this because this is on subject, but kind of not on subject. But it's like, I remember that time where I realized my parents were wrong about something. And I was like, oh, that's how I know I've reached to a certain level of maturity. Because as much as from the ages of like 0 to like 18, 19, a lot of times, it's like you think your parents are wrong about stuff, but most of the time, the stuff they're telling you, they're right about because they have way more experience and way more understanding and all these things you think are new and brand new and to you and your parents, no, they've seen it, they've done it, they've experienced it. So a lot of times they're right. So it's like, those are the years you're still taking stuff in, you're still learning. Your perspective on life hasn't even really formed yet of what it's ultimately going to be because you haven't experienced nothing yet. But once you experience things, like you transform into a different person. I guarantee you said they're 24 now.
They're 24.
14 to 24. Like, man, 40 to 50, that decade, that's you probably going to be the same person to a certain extent. But that decade from 14 to 24,
yeah. You literally a child to an adult. I
yes,
mean,
like,
in so many ways.
So many
Your
ways.
body has probably physically changed
exactly.
in that time.
So many different things have changed.
Like chemical change is not external change. It's like chemically you have changed. So yeah, I mean, we really wish you the best. My experience is it may not be the best, but I hope both Dre and I's experience with this is helpful to you. I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
But best wishes.
Best wishes to
you guys. And if you want to write in about your real love scenario, you can head to our website, www.relationshiprestore.com.
Yep.
And you can also follow us on social media. Yep. Ronnie Cakes.
At Dre Smith.
And at Relationship Restored. We'll see you next week.
Shout out to all the real lovers.